Hello and welcome to Order Within, navigating a world of endless chaos and crisis. Many of us are experiencing inner turmoil, insecurity, anxiety, fears, and isolation. These feelings are only being amplified by news cycles, social media, and never-ending political madness. How do we find our way out of the chaos? How do we find strength within ourselves? How do we find meaning in a world driven by materialism? These questions and many more I aim to answer on the show. My goal is to be a trusted guide on your journey to selfhood. May you find what you seek. Hello and welcome to Order Within. My name's Brandon Ward and I am going to be your host. Order Within is about navigating a world of chaos and endless crisis. How do we find strength, clarity, and peace in a world that seems hell-bent on causing nothing but pain and disorder within humanity? I feel that many of us are struggling. Data is proving this relative to depression rates, the quality of life that has been declining since 2020, specifically in terms of life expectancy, but even larger from a depression perspective. There has been downward trends in fulfillment and happiness for decades now. And it leads you to ask many questions around how do we get here? How do we find ourselves in this place in such an advanced technological world? From my perspective, this is built around the disconnect that exists between ourselves, our inner self, and the way the world pushes us to be. The nature of this podcast is to hopefully reveal information and tools that can help you navigate this chaotic world and help find strength and peace within yourself to find fulfillment and happiness and meaning in a world pushing us away from our roots. And this is built around my own experience and research and leveraging the minds of incredibly intelligent, well-researched individuals. Because we live in a society and culture, I live in the United States. It is April 2022. We're still kind of in a pandemic. And social media is rampant. There is never been more divisiveness in our country, perhaps other than the Civil War times, historically looking at these divisions. And there seems to be no solution. We're looking to politics or politicians or companies to fix the world and help the way that we feel. But I think the reality is showing us that the external approach to problems and happiness and fulfillment, which is centered around materialism in the United States and most of the Western world, driven through this technocratic approach, has shown us through this data, through the experience that many people are having today, our kids, our children, our teenagers, adults, all across the gamut, people are experiencing dissatisfaction and unhealthiness around their mental state, their physical states, and how they're feeling about their life. That is an indicator to the disconnect from our strength from within. And that is what Order Within is about, is finding the strength and fortitude to find your own balance within a world pulling us in many directions. And that happens, I've learned through my own experience, my own failures. Ultimately, why should you listen to me, right? I've spent over a decade of my life ferociously determined to find that inner self built around the premise that that self, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, energetic, eternal, this self that exists beyond our material world, that the culture of our society has pushed us further and further away. The further away we get from this inner self, the more destructive and painful and obviously chaotic our world becomes. And it's based on my experience and leveraging those experts throughout our times who have helped navigate and guide us through this world of personal fulfillment, satisfaction, and ultimately living our best lives, not in this wishful thinking, materialistic way. There's nothing wrong with materialism. It's a wonderful world that we live in, and there's many practical reasons why we enjoy our material wealth. The technology and advancements that we've created as a society have allowed us to live a type of life free, more and more free from monotony, from the routine work that has historically been required to exist as humans on planet Earth. Technology is freeing us to expand our thinking, our minds, and where we can exist and create life in a way that is a reflection of our larger selves. That inner world is where this power and strength comes from. I have been at times deeply depressed, isolated, lonely, afraid. And that I found as I got older and learned and went through the process of ruthlessly searching for myself, my true identity from within, not what the world tells me I am, but what I have felt and experienced for myself. And because of that connection from within, that inner strength, it's enabled me to live a life that I did not think possible. And that is not built around material success. That may be outcomes of our internal strength, our order within, but it's not the main reason we do those things. It's built around the personal satisfaction and fulfillment that comes from living an authentic life, true to who we are from within. That is the gift that life has offered us, that is available to everyone if they're willing to do the work and look within themselves to find the treasures of our existence. That is what this podcast is about. Now, it's my first episode. I'm planning to record several episodes and looking at multiple segments, thinking about the internal approach, specific resources, books, authors, thought leaders, and strategies that I've been able to leverage and others that have worked in order to help rebuild myself, reconnect with myself. It's finding the tool set that enables us to do this work. It's possible, but if we don't have guidance, if we don't have tools, if we don't have structure, then we flounder. I spent many years floundering and searching endlessly the internet, books, and hours and hours and hours of time by myself thinking, praying, and meditating. And through all of these years and time and dedication to doing this, instead of focusing on the external world, external success, just saying this, not that it really matters. I am a professional. I'm in sales, so I do have a career. But early on in my 20s and 30s, I spent a lot of that time exploring myself and not interested in pursuing a lot of these materialistic approaches that we take in our world built around the societal idea of success, which is driven by materialism, climbing the ladder, the corporate grind, the rat race, so to speak, all of those things that we are now realizing are not what we were led to believe is the answer to what we seek. And so, because of that time, dedication, and ruthlessness that I spent pursuing this objective to find myself, to truly find meaning and happiness in my life, regardless of the circumstances that I found myself in, I discovered ways to go about doing that by blindly following my instincts, my heart, and truly through prayer. And so really just kind of falling around blindly through the world, stumbling around things until I found pieces that were helpful and allowed me to begin rebuilding myself and reconnecting. And so there's approaches from within. The structure of this show and podcast is going to be built around a few different segments. One will be on the internal aspects of this, what I was just discussing, the tools that we can use, books, authors, thought structures, or philosophies that can help with how we approach life and ourselves. So repairing and rebuilding ourselves from within. Another segment is going to be the external aspects of our life and how they impact and how they are a reflection of our internal world. So looking at external events, happenings, and then analyzing those events and aspects of our life from an internal perspective. So it's looking at things with a different perspective. I'm hoping will be a refreshing look and perspective on life so that you can take these perspectives and learn and grow from them. So it's the internal aspect, the internal component, how our internal world reflects our external world and how it ties back to the internal work that we're required to do. And then third, hopefully, as I grow the show and continue to expand content and the focus of this internal work, I would love to have interviews and guests on the show relative to very specific topics, so experts in their respective fields who have deep knowledge, and then discuss some of these concepts, the order within concepts, from their perspective, their expertise. I am not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I am none of those things. I don't have all the answers. I absolutely do not. And I learn every day. I make mistakes. I'm human. What I'm providing on this show is not medical advice. It's merely what I've learned over the decades of my existence on Earth. And I really genuinely hope to provide information that will be useful and helpful to you. To find our own happiness, to be confident, to be steady in ourselves, to feel strong within ourselves, to not be reactive to a world that continues to try and push our buttons, to put us in a feared, offended state to where we are so weak we can't even hear words that don't align with our way of thinking without losing our minds. We've lost sight of who we are and the strength that comes with the internal connection to ourselves. And the outcomes of that, confidence, steadiness, security, and what we can create in the world from that confidence and steadiness is what the outcomes of this show are about as well. So the goal is to provide tools, perspectives, and expertise from people who are well thought and researched in their respective fields, and then organize that information in a way that's useful and helpful for you, the listener, to take those things and deploy them in your life so that you can hopefully become the best version of yourself, to become that strong, steady self that the world so desperately needs. The thing that I've come to realize as I've gotten older, I'm newly married, a couple years into my marriage. We have a 10-month-old daughter who I love deeply. I love my family. And I realize how important it is for us to tap into these tools and into our internal strength to navigate the problems that we face as a society and as a species. There are so many challenges as a humanity that we face in 2022. We need our best selves to bring to these challenges and problems to find solutions that will work for our planet as a whole. We have to start thinking about ourselves as a global collective. Now, I will say this, I'm a very individualistic person, but we are a community, that's a better word, a community of individuals existing globally. And we need to find that commonality, which from my perspective is that human experience and our desire to live and love as we are and be fulfilled, that common experience that I genuinely believe the majority of people on this planet are good, honest, hardworking individuals and truly want the best for themselves and their families. I believe that it's rare that there are those people who are genuinely, intentionally evil, and their desire to inflict pain and harm, I believe, is a very small percentage of people. Although that small percentage of people can have a large impact if they are powerful individuals who run companies or governments, etc., which is what we're experiencing in our world today. So it's a call to you, the listener, to activate the best that lives within you so that we may together face the world that we stand against for not only our generation, but future generations to come, our kids, our grandchildren, and our great, 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 great grandchildren. We have to tackle these problems head on, and we have to realize that growing up and being honest with ourselves and where we are today is the first step in moving forward to attempt at course correcting where we are. Because there's no excuse or reason why there should be the level of suffering that's existing in our world today with the quality of life and the technological advancements that we've experienced in the last 100 years. We have the technology and ability to truly transform the way we live as a species, and there's no reason why we cannot, other than the fact we are not doing our best work or connecting to our best selves simply because we've been cut off from the source of this glory. Ultimately, that connection, reconnecting with our inner glorified self, is what Order Within is about. Navigating a world of chaos and endless crisis. Episode 1, in the book, external does not fill us, only are we filled from within. And it's where we move from joy and from within that truly is that secret to our happiness and fulfillment. And in this show, I will do my best to uncover and unpack what that means, what these concepts are about, and the tools that are available to you if you wish to use them. So with that being said, I appreciate your tuning in. I hope to see you, hear you again. And until next time. Thank you for listening to Order Within. If you found the episode helpful, please consider sharing, rating, and subscribing. New episodes will be released every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, y'all.